Neon lights glowed like electric veins across the skyline. Drones hummed through the night delivering packages, and the streets were alive with traffic and laughter. It was one of the most secure, most technologically advanced cities in America. But on the night of January 15, 2025, everything changed. At 9:17 p.m., the entire city went dark. Lights flickered once, twice, and then the power grid collapsed like a dying heartbeat. Streetlights died, traffic signals blinked out, skyscraper windows turned black. For a moment it felt like the city was holding its breath. Then came the explosions. Transformers blew one after another. Boom! 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 Sending showers of sparks raining onto the streets. Cars crashed, alarms screamed, and civilians ran in confusion. Captain Ethan Cross stood atop the Federal Security Tower, staring across the darkened city. A battle-hardened special ops officer with years of combat experience, Ethan had sensed something wrong hours before the blackout. A strange silence in radio signals, missing surveillance drones, unusual seismic readings beneath the city. Now it all made sense. His earpiece crackled. "Captain Cross, report immediately to HQ. Level 0 threat. This is not a drill." Ethan froze. A level 0 threat meant one thing, an extinction-level crisis. He rushed down the stairwell, boots pounding against metal steps, and emerged onto the street, now drowned in panic. People shouted, children cried, car horns blared. Yet beneath the noise, something else moved. Something inhuman. From the distant shadows, he heard a scream, long, sharp, and full of terror. Not a scream of pain, a scream of someone watching something unnatural. Ethan gripped his rifle and followed the sound. He turned a corner and stopped. A man was running across the street, chased by a dark, twisted creature moving at impossible speed. Its limbs bent like broken joints, its skin was glossy black like oil, and its eyes glowed faint red. The creature leaped onto the man, ripping him away from the ground. Before Ethan could intervene, the creature sensed him. It stared straight at him. Then it hissed. Ethan fired, controlled bursts, perfect accuracy. The creature screeched as bullets tore through it. It dropped to the ground, twitching violently until it finally went still. Ethan approached cautiously, examining the body. This wasn't human. This wasn't an animal. This was something engineered. Suddenly, footsteps. A figure stumbled from the shadows, breathless and trembling. A young woman in a torn white lab coat. Her ID badge dangled from her collar. Dr. Aria Lane, Genetic Research Division, Nightfall Program. Her eyes widened when she saw the dead creature. You killed one of them." Ethan raised his rifle. "Doctor, what the hell are these things?" She swallowed hard. They were never supposed to escape. Before she could finish, 3 more creatures screeched in the distance, heading straight toward them. Ethan grabbed her arm. "Move!" They sprinted toward an abandoned police SUV. Ethan shoved her inside, jumped in, slammed the doors shut, and sped through the dark streets while the creatures leaped across rooftops behind them. Aria clutched her bag, shaking violently. "Captain, you don't understand. The Nightfall facility, it's breached." Ethan gritted his teeth. He knew Nightfall. He knew it was off limits. He knew it was dangerous. But he never imagined something like this could get out. Horror. The underground command bunker of Haven City shook as alarms blared across every screen. Ethan pushed open the steel doors, pulling Dr. Aria Lane inside. Soldiers ran past them, weapons raised, shouting coordinates and evacuation orders. Red emergency lights flashed rhythmically, painting the room in a harsh crimson glow. General Marcus Reeve, a towering figure with a stone-cold glare, turned sharply as soon as Ethan entered. "Cross, Dr. Lane! Get over here, now!" Ethan approached. Aria hesitated. Marcus looked at her with fury and fear mixed in his eyes. "Doctor, I need the truth. What exactly escaped from Nightfall?" Aria took a shaky breath. "The project was called Apex Initiative. We were trying to create enhanced soldiers, regenerative, faster reflexes, boosted strength." Marcus slammed a fist on the table. "You were told to shut that project down months ago." Aria nodded helplessly. "We did, but someone restarted it, secretly." The room fell silent. Ethan crossed his arms, voice firm. "Someone?" Aria's eyes shifted toward the floor. "Dr. Cale Voss." Ethan's jaw clenched. Cale Voss, brilliant, unstable, expelled from the program years ago for unethical experiments. Most believed he had disappeared. Marcus leaned forward. "Are you telling me Voss created those monsters?" Aria nodded. "He continued the Apex experiments underground, in the Nightfall sublevels. The blackout happened because the creatures damaged the quantum reactor that powered the lab. Ethan frowned. How many creatures escaped? Arya hesitated. Marcus grabbed her shoulder. How? Many. Her voice cracked. Hundreds. Maybe more. The entire command room fell into deadly silence. A lieutenant shouted from across the hall, "General! Emergency feed from Sector 7. The main screen flickered on. The footage showed a squad of soldiers trapped inside a collapsed tunnel. They fired desperately at shadowy figures crawling upside down along the ceiling. One soldier was dragged into the darkness, screaming. The feed went black. Marcus inhaled deeply. "We need a counterstrike." He pointed at Ethan. "Cross, assemble a team. You're going into nightfall." Ethan nodded. "Mission objective?" Marcus tapped a button. A hologram popped up, a vial containing glowing blue liquid. "The anti-serum, a failsafe designed to reverse the Apex mutation. Find the formula, extract it, and deliver it topside." Arya stepped forward. "I'm coming with you." Ethan shook his head. "It's too dangerous." Arya looked him dead in the eyes. "I designed part of the genome structure. Without me, you won't even get past the first security gate." Marcus nodded. "She's right. She's going." Ethan reluctantly agreed. The strike team. Minutes later, an armoured transport rolled into the fortified loading bay. Ethan's strike team geared up. Sergeant Reyes, heavy weapons expert. Corporal Jin Park, demolitions. Agent Cole Rivers, recon sniper. Tech specialist Harper Quinn, surveillance and hacking. Dr. Arya Lane, genetic scientist. They entered the transport, the steel doors sealing behind them. The vehicle rumbled into the underground tunnel system. As they drove deeper, Arya explained more. The Apex creatures were designed with hive intelligence. They share information instantly. They adapt. They evolve. Harper frowned. "So you made super zombies?" Arya shook her head. "Not zombies, soldiers. But Voss pushed too far. He tried to create an alpha, a leader with full cognitive ability, near human intelligence, maybe more." Ethan felt a chill run down his spine. Did he succeed? Arya didn't answer. Her silence was the answer. The transport came to a sudden halt. Reyes looked through the armoured window. "Roads blocked. Tunnel collapse." Ethan ordered, "Everyone out. Stay sharp." They stepped into the dark tunnel. Flickering lights overhead buzzed weakly. The air smelled like rotten chemicals. Jin scanned a collapsed pile of concrete. "We can clear this if we—" A guttural hiss echoed, then another. The team formed a defensive circle. Cole whispered, "We're not alone." From the ceiling, 3 Apex creatures slowly crawled upside down, their claws scraping the concrete. Their bodies twitched in unnatural rhythms, and their eyes glowed like burning embers in the dark. Ethan shouted, "Open fire!" Gunshots erupted. The creatures dropped from the ceiling and attacked with terrifying speed. Harper screamed as one slashed her arm. Reyes blasted another with a shotgun, sending it tumbling down the tunnel. Ethan tackled a creature that lunged at Arya, firing point-blank into its skull. The creatures retreated back into the darkness, leaving behind only the echo of their shrieks. Arya pressed her hand to her mouth. "They're hunting us." Ethan nodded grimly. "Then we hunt back." The team pushed forward, deeper into the heart of nightfall, unaware that something far worse was waiting for them. The air grew colder the deeper they went. Nightfall facility lay miles beneath Haven City, sealed behind reinforced titanium blast doors and biometric security. But now the entire structure was a graveyard corridor, dark, destroyed, and dripping with blood. Ethan, Arya, and the strike team moved through the tunnels with weapons raised and flashlights cutting through the dusty darkness. Reyes whispered, "Feels like a tomb." Arya corrected him quietly. "It is a tomb." The ruins of Nightfall. They approached the massive exterior gate of the facility. The door, designed to withstand missiles, was split open like paper. Huge claw marks covered the steel walls. Bones and torn armor littered the entrance. Cole knelt beside a shredded helmet. These soldiers never stood a chance. Arya placed her palm over a blood puddle. "This blood, it's fresh." Ethan raised a fist. "Eyes up. They know we're here." The team entered the main lab complex, rows of shattered glass chambers, overturned tables, flickering monitors. Warning holograms flashed. Open quote, "Biohazard breach. Level Omega. All personnel evacuate immediately." Close quote. Harper tapped her tablet, scanning the environment. Motion trackers spiking. Something's moving in the vents. Jin sighed. "Great. Ceiling monsters." Dr. Voss's lab. Arya led them to an isolated chamber sealed behind thick bulletproof glass. A large sign read, "Restricted, Genome Forge Lab." Inside were dozens of broken containment pods, each labelled with cryptic code names: Apex-01, Apex-2, Apex-05, Alpha Prototype. Ethan noticed one pod in the centre was not broken, but exploded from the inside out. Arya stepped toward it, trembling. This was the Alpha's chamber. Cole frowned. Meaning this thing was smarter, stronger, and more dangerous than the others? Arya whispered. The Alpha can learn. It can strategize. It can command the others telepathically. Rise cursed under his breath. So we're not fighting animals, we're fighting an army with a brain. Ethan placed a hand on Arya's shoulder. Where's the antidote stored? She pointed to a high-security vault deeper inside. Level 04. But to get to it, we must pass the reactor core. Harper blinked. The same core that exploded during the blackout? Arya nodded. And it won't be stable. The Tunnel of Echoes. The team pushed deeper into nightfall. As they walked through a long metallic tunnel, the lights flickered violently. Strange sounds echoed. Click, scratch, breath. Cole raised his sniper. Something's following us. Ethan checked the motion tracker. No signals. But the sounds grew louder. Closer. Drip. Drip. Reyes looked at the ceiling. His eyes widened in terror. Above us! Dozens of apex creatures clung upside down like bats. Their bodies twisted like shadows, eyes gleaming red. The creatures dropped simultaneously. Chaos erupted. Reyes unloaded his heavy machine gun, mowing down 2 mutants. Jin tossed a flash grenade, its blinding burst stunning several. Harper screamed as a creature slashed her leg. One mutant grabbed Arya and pinned her against a wall, jaws unhinging. Ethan tackled it, stabbing it in the neck with his combat blade. The tunnel filled with gunfire, screeches, blood, and sparks. Finally, silence. Dozens of mutant bodies lay torn and smoking on the tunnel floor, but Harper was bleeding badly. Ethan knelt. Stay with us. Harper forced a smile. I'm fine, just a flesh wound. Everyone knew she was lying, but they kept moving. The reactor core. The team entered a gigantic chamber housing the Nightfall quantum reactor, the machine that powered the entire facility. Except now, it was cracked, sparking, pulsating with dangerous energy. Arya rushed to a terminal. We need to bypass the lockdown to reach the antidote vault. Reyes guarded the doors. Jin planted proximity charges. Cole aimed down the catwalk. Ethan stood near Arya. Suddenly, her screen glitched. A distorted voice emerged from the speakers. A familiar voice. One Ethan recognized from military reports. Dr. Cale Voss. Welcome, Captain Cross. Welcome to Evolution. Arya froze. Voss, you're alive? His voice cracked with madness. Alive, ascending, transforming. Ethan growled. What have you done? Voss laughed. I perfected humanity. I freed it from weakness, and now I am its future. Ethan responded. You built a monster you can't control. Voss whispered. The Alpha obeys me. Arya's heart dropped. Then you're the hive mind. Suddenly, all lights went out. In the darkness, heavy footsteps echoed from above. Cole whispered, terrified. Something's coming. The ceiling collapsed, and the Alpha mutant dropped into the room like a meteor. Massive, armored, intelligent, evolving. It roared, a sound that shook the reactor chamber. Ethan yelled, Contact! The Alpha charged. Reyes opened fire, bullets bouncing off its armor plates. Jin's explosives detonated, but only scorched it. The Alpha moved faster than anything Ethan had ever seen. It grabbed Reyes, smashing him against a wall. Harper tried to crawl away, but the Alpha hurled a lab tank at her, sending her flying. Ethan and Cole unleashed everything they had, rifle fire, grenades, blades, but the Alpha kept coming. Arya screamed, The lockdown is disabled, go! Ethan grabbed her and ran through the opening door as the Alpha leaped toward them. Cole fired a final shot, distracting the creature. The doors slammed shut behind Ethan and Arya. Cole was trapped inside with the Alpha. His scream echoed through the metal corridor. Then, silent passageway as the blast doors sealed behind them with a thunderous clang. The force of the closing door shook the ground. Behind them, through the thick barrier, they could still hear Cole's final screams echoing, then fading. Arya collapsed against the wall, trembling. Cole, he saved us. Ethan pulled her up gently. We don't have time. The Alpha will find another path. Arya nodded shakily. Her eyes were red but determined. The long corridor ahead was dark except for occasional flickering lights. Each flicker revealed something disturbing. Bloody handprints on the walls, shattered helmets, claw marks that sliced through solid steel. The air smelled of chemicals and death. The shrieking hallway. Reyes limped forward, clutching his ribs where the Alpha had slammed him. Harper followed, still bleeding, supported by Jin. Suddenly, a piercing shriek echoed from somewhere far behind them. Not human, not creature. Something in between. Arya whispered, "The Apex hybrids are learning to imitate human sounds." Reyes cursed under his breath. "So they're mocking us now?" Ethan glanced behind them, rifle raised. "No, they're luring us." The team quickened their pace. They reached a large room filled with holographic screens and suspended data capsules. This was Nightfall's archive center, the place where years of research was stored. Arya rushed to a terminal. "We're close. The antidote vault is just beyond the next 2 sublevels." Jin scanned the files scattered across the floor. What the hell is all this? Arya hesitated, then activated a hologram. A projection of Dr. Cale Voss appeared, calm, cold, obsessed. Open quote, "Humanity fears evolution. But evolution does not wait. The Alpha is not a weapon. It is the next step." Close quote. Ethan clenched his jaw. He planned this, all of it. Another audio fragment played. Open quote, "If Haven City falls, the world will understand what humanity must become." Close quote. Reyes punched a metal cabinet in rage. "That psychopath is going to wipe out millions." Arya's hands shook as she transferred the files. "Ethan, there's something you need to know." He turned to her. "What is it?" She took a deep breath. "The antidote won't kill the creatures." The room went silent. Even the machinery seemed to pause. Ethan stepped closer. "Then what will it do?" Arya swallowed hard. "Permanently stop the mutation from spreading. But the infected, the ones already transformed." Her voice cracked. "Cannot be cured." Reyes stared at her. "So all those people out there, those soldiers, they're gone forever?" Arya nodded. Ethan's voice was low, steady. "Then we make sure no one else becomes one of them." That the breakdown. Just as Arya finished downloading the data, bang, a loud metallic crash echoed through the corridor. Harper screamed, "Movement! Something's in the vents!" The ceiling above them began to bend. Bolts popped out one by one. Ethan shouted, "Weapons up! Form a circle!" The ceiling panel ripped open, and 3 apex creatures dropped down like shadows. Gunfire erupted, sparks flew, creatures shrieked. Reyes swung his heavy weapon, blasting one creature point blank. Harper managed to fire a few rounds before collapsing again. Jin tackled a creature off Arya, stabbing it repeatedly with his combat knife until its body went limp. But the third creature lunged at Harper. Ethan dove in front of her, firing a burst that shredded the monster. When the gunfire stopped, silence. Arya knelt. "Harper, stay with us." But she didn't move. Her pulse was weak, her breathing shallow. Reyes lowered his head. "She's not making it out of here." Arya looked at Ethan. "We can't carry her and outrun the Alpha, and the others will keep coming." Harper opened her eyes slowly. She whispered, "Don't waste time on me." Ethan tightened his grip on his rifle. Harper grabbed his wrist. "Make the mission count." Her hand went still. Arya closed her eyes in sorrow. Half the vault doors. The remaining 4 survivors, Ethan, Arya, Reyes, and Jin, reached the final chamber. A massive biometric vault stood before them, glowing faint blue. Arya rushed to the console. "This is it. The antidote is inside." Jin planted charges along the hallway. "If the creatures follow, I'll blow the whole corridor." Reyes leaned against the wall, coughing blood. "Captain, I won't last long. When the Alpha comes, don't hesitate." Ethan placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're not dying here. No one else dies tonight." Arya initiated the vault's unlocking sequence. Lights whirred, gears shifted, the giant door began to open. But then the ground trembled, dust fell from the ceiling. Jin's eyes widened. "It's here." A distant roar shook the entire sub-level. The Alpha, hunting, closing in, faster than any of them could imagine. Arya turned to Ethan. "Once we grab the antidote, we must reach the extraction elevator." Ethan nodded, "Then move." The vault opened, revealing racks of glowing blue antidote vials, but before they could take a step, a metallic distortion crackled through the intercom. Then came the voice, cold, inhuman, familiar. "Captain Cross, I told you this was evolution." The Alpha roared again, closer now. Arya whispered, "He's coming for us." Ethan raised his rifle, eyes focused, heartbeat steady, fear gone. Good. Let him come, pay off. The world had turned quiet, too quiet. After escaping the collapsing underground city, Alex, Mira, Darius, and Colonel Hayes reached the surface only to discover that the infection had already begun spreading across the region. twisted creatures roamed the wasteland, their bodies still glowing with the blue toxins stolen from Leviathan. The sky thundered violently. Red clouds gathered. Leviathan was not dead. It was awakening fully. The countdown begins. From the remains of an abandoned military outpost, Alex hacked into the satellite link. The screens flickered with global alerts. 20 hours until global detonation. Leviathan's energy was building. If it reached its peak, it would send a shockwave through every continent, contaminating the entire Earth. Colonel Hayes turned to Alex. "Son, this is no longer a mission. This is human extinction." Mira loaded her rifle, her hands shaking. "So we go back, to the abyss, finish it where it began." Darius, the strongest among them, spoke quietly. "We kill the world's oldest nightmare." Alex nodded. They had one last chance. Descent into the ruins. The team travelled back into the dead city through a fissure in the mountains. The tunnels were darker now, pulsing like veins. Every few minutes, the sound of bones cracking echoed from somewhere deep inside. The monstrous hybrids, half human, half creature, patrolled the tunnels. Their movements were jerky. Their eyes glowed with the Leviathan toxin. The team fought through waves of them. Darius swung a heavy combat axe, splitting through creatures as they charged. Mira covered Alex with precise shots. Hayes set explosive traps behind them. Alex carried the EMP core on his back, the only device capable of shutting down Leviathan's energy network permanently. But every step deeper into the abyss felt like descending into the throat of a living beast. Face to face with the ancient Titan. At the center of the underground city stood a massive cathedral-like chamber. The walls were covered with living roots, blue veins pulsating like a heartbeat. In the middle, towering 3 stories, was Leviathan. A fleshy armored titan with shifting forms, sometimes humanoid, sometimes reptilian, sometimes a mass of writhing tendrils. Its red eye opened slowly. It spoke inside their minds. "You took my children. Now you give me your world." The sound crushed them with pure terror. Hayes raised his rifle. "Alex, get to the core. We'll hold the monster." Heroes versus horror. The chamber erupted with violence. Leviathan unleashed tendrils that spiraled through the air like whips. Darius blocked one with his axe, flying backward but getting up again, roaring like a beast himself. Mira's bullets sparked against Leviathan's shifting armor. Hayes fired explosive rounds, slowing the Titan for only seconds. Alex ran toward the glowing tower, a pulsating column of bioenergy. If he could plant the EMP core inside it, Leviathan's energy web would collapse. But then, Leviathan's tendril caught Mira. It lifted her, squeezing her chest. She screamed as the toxin burned her skin. Alex turned. "Mira!" Darius leaped onto the tendril with a war cry, hacking it off. Mira fell into Hayes' arms, coughing but alive. "Go!" she cried to Alex. "Don't stop!" The sacrifice. Alex reached the tower. He climbed the living structure as it twisted beneath him. At the top, he tore open the surface and slammed the EM core inside. The tower screamed like a dying animal. Alarms blared. EMP activation. 60 seconds. Leviathan let out a roar that shook the earth. It lunged at Alex. Darius stood in the way. "No! You want him? Come through me." Leviathan struck Darius with a brutal tendril, impaling him through the chest. Darius spat blood, but held the tendril with both hands, stopping the monster from reaching Alex. "Do it, Alex! End this damn nightmare." Alex hit the final switch. The EMP core hummed. The fall of Leviathan. A blinding white pulse expanded outward. The energy network around Leviathan shattered like glass. Its glowing veins faded. Its monstrous armor crumbled. Leviathan's immense body twisted, shrieked, and finally collapsed into the abyss below. The entire underground city began imploding. Hayes grabbed Mira, dragging her toward the exit. Alex tried to help Darius, but the warrior shook his head. "I'm done. Just make it mean something." Alex bowed his head, eyes burning. It meant everything. He ran. As Alex escaped the chamber, the roof collapsed, burying Darius and the remains of Leviathan forever. The dawn after horror. The survivors reached the surface just as the sun rose. The air was calm. The ground stopped shaking. For the first time, there were no monsters chasing them. The world was wounded, but alive. Mira looked at Alex. "It's over, right?" Alex stared at the horizon where the first light touched the mountains. "I hope so, but if something else wakes up down there..." He tightened his grip on his weapon. "We'll be ready." The camera pulls back. A silent breeze blows through the ruins. Deep beneath the earth, a faint blue glow flickers, cut to black